This is the exact reason you keep quitting your goals. I'm about to show you how to finally fucking stick to something. Now, most people think they lack motivation or discipline, but that's fucking bullshit. After helping 10,000 queers stick to their fucking fitness goals, I discovered something kind of wild. There's actually a specific spot where 90% of people quit and 3 simple tools to help you get through it. I've spent the last 20 years coaching hella queers through this exact pattern, and what I found changed everything about how people actually achieve their goals. So let's get into it. How to actually stick to something and stop trying new shit all the time. Now, I'm going to say something that sounds a little fucked up. Most people are not winners. This has nothing to do with whether someone is a good person or a bad person. I generally believe that most people deep down are good people. I'm talking about winning. I'm talking about people who actually hit their goals. I'm talking about straight up success. You can define success however you want. Success might mean to you having a meaningful relationship, having a successful business, having money, having health. However you choose to define success, stats show that only 3% of people actually set their goals, write them down, review them, and actually hit them. And that's because most people get stuck in, dun dun dun, the valley of despair. Learning about the valley of despair equals you learning how to never give up on your goals ever the fuck again. So let's break this down. The valley of despair is split up into 5 different sections. And there's a line going right down the middle. The sections that are above the line feel good. They feel like we're winning. The sections below the line feel like shit. So let's start off with section number 1. This is when you're like excited about this new thing that you heard. For example, we're going to use, I heard of the QueerGym, and you're really pumped and you're like, this sounds awesome. I think this is going to finally get me to my goal. Let's do it. You join and then you're like, shit, like I actually have to work out and I actually have to meal prep. And then you get to this third section here where you're like, fuck this. This is actually fucking hard. I'm just going to fucking cancel. And because you quit, you never actually make it to section number 4. And that's when you're like, oh shit, it's working. I'm seeing results. And then ultimately the best stage, number 5, where you're like, fuck yeah, I did that shit. I'm a happy, healthy homo. I did it. Now, I'm giving you this as an example for fitness. This is the fitness edition of the Valley of Despair. But this actually goes across any goal. If you're talking about relationships, this might look like, I met somebody new. They're super cute. I'm really excited. And then you start hanging out with them and you're like, shit, actually, they're like pretty bad communicators. And then section 3 is you're like, I don't think this is going to work out. And if you stick it through, you get to section 4 where you're like, oh, actually, we're communicating a lot better now. And I think this is going to work out. And then ultimately number 5 where you're like, they're my person. Yay. Same thing can be said for the business edition of this. So let's say you're like, oh, I heard about owning Airbnbs. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, there's actually like a lot of laws. I don't know if I could do this. And then you get to number 3 where you're like, oh, I don't think this is going to work out for me. This is like fucking really hard. And if you push through to number 4, you're going to get to the point where you're like, oh shit, it's working. I got my first rental. Yay. And then ultimately number 5, you're like, I'm making money. Let's go. And so whatever edition of the Valley of Despair you find yourself in, the fact is that most people quit here. Okay. And then they go try a new thing again. And so they're like, oh, I heard about keto. I'm going to try that. And you're like, oh shit, that's really hard. And then you quit again. And then you're just finding yourself in this constant loop of never getting to your goal, always getting stuck and constantly trying new shit. So how the fuck do we make it out of the Valley of Despair? I got you. It's the 3 G's. Now, the first 2 G's are kind of woo-woo. They're like feel good, kind of vibes type of thing. The last G is like the actual work. All right, so let's get into it. The first G, gratitude. Now, in my moments of despair, of anxiety, where I'm just feeling like shit, gratitude has always, always helped me regulate. You got to find the gratitude in what you're doing. You got to be grateful that you're even fucking trying. You got to be grateful that you even have the awareness of where you're at right now. And also, it's really helpful to just look at your receipts, aka the little wins that you've accumulated along the way, the lessons that you've been able to uncover so far. It's just really hard to lose your shit in the moment and be in gratitude. So choose gratitude. Second G is grace. You don't lose if you learn. And learning is what we do our entire life. Because let's be real, most of us are only born with 1 or 2 natural talents, aka you're a really good singer, or you're really fast, or you're really strong. Everything else in life, we learn. And anytime that you learn something new, you're gonna suck at it at first. Then you're going to slowly get good enough that you're actually going to enjoy it. Think about walking or think about your job. Day one, you probably hated it. It was really hard. It was overwhelming. And now you kick ass at your job. And the final G, this is the work. I've talked about grit before with y'all, but I've recently learned a formula or a process to help develop your grit a lot better. Let me introduce you to the grit formula. Now, the grit formula is divided up into 5 sections as well, and I'm going to walk you through each one of these so that you learn how to push through and improve your grit, and you're not just going into a situation where like, I just got to get through it. This is actually going to show you how to do that. So let's get into it. So number 1, this part of the formula represents your normal ass behavior, right? When you're just doing your thing, everything's normal. This is your normal behavior line. This is your baseline, right? And then we go into number 2. This is where like shit hits the fan. Something bad happens. Inevitably, it's going to happen. It's part of every journey, no matter who you are. Bad things are going to come up and they're going to try and throw you off. Now, best case scenario, when that happens, you're unshakable. It happens, you push through it. There's no change in your behavior. Mid case scenario, this is where maybe you can tolerate one bad thing happening and it doesn't really throw you off. But then the second thing happens and you're like, fuck. You go into a little crash out. Worst case scenario, you don't really have a high tolerance for bad things happening and you immediately crash out. So let's take it back to neutral. Let's say you're behaving normally, bad things happens. All right, you're going to crash out. Number 3 is how much you crash out. Best case scenario, you only crash out a little bit, throws you off your game a little bit, no big deal. Worst case scenario, you hella crash out. Now, number 4 is how long it takes you to bounce back. Okay, so bad thing happens, you crash out. How long does it take you to get back to baseline? Best case scenario, you bounce back pretty quick. Boom. Worst case scenario, it takes you a long time to bounce back. Okay? And then we go into section 5. So you're behaving normally, bad thing happens, you crash out, you bounce back. Now, after you bounce back, you have 2 options. Best case scenario, you're better because of it. You improve your baseline. Worst case scenario, in the long run, that crash out puts you in a worse position than when you first started. Now, by knowing the grit formula, you can actually practice and increase and improve your grit. I found this formula really powerful because before knowing the formula, I was just like, you just got to push through. You just got to push through, and like doing the hustle thing and the grit thing and just like the masculine energy thing. And learning about the grit formula gave me so much power back because now I'm like, oh, okay, there's a formula for this. And I can focus on the parts of the formula that are tough for me right now. And the more I practice this formula, the better I'm going to be at developing mental toughness and being able to endure hard situations that I'm going to face going towards my goal. And so to answer your question about how do you actually survive the valley of despair and push through this section here where you just want to say, fuck all this, the answer is the 3 G's: gratitude, grace, and grit. If you repeat these over and over as you're going through the tough parts of any journey, you're eventually going to see the other side. You're going to eventually start to see results, and you're going to be making your way up and out of the valley of despair. So now that you understand the valley of despair and how to overcome it with gratitude, grace, and grit, really, now the only thing that's stopping you is you, aka your identity. Okay, your identity is basically how you truly see yourself. And you have to be careful about this. You have to be mindful of your own BS. And by BS, I mean your belief systems, the things that you believe to be true about yourself. And be careful because some of the things that I hear often is, oh, I have a sweet tooth. I'm a night owl. I'm a procrastinator. I'm broke. I'm lazy. I'm always late. If these are things that you constantly believe about yourself, you're going to behave in alignment with these beliefs. So continue to work on your identity and align your environment to support your journey through the valley of despair and help you finally break through and hit your goals. Gracias. That is all I have for y'all. If this was helpful, please make sure to subscribe. Peace.